Hi, my name is Geordie Moffat. I'm the Technical Art Director for Studio Alpha. I'm going to show you the making of our satellite data visualizer. So you can see here we've got the Earth, we've got various orbits from satellites, debris, other orbiting things. Point of intersection, so the red orbit is showing debris, the green orbit is showing a satellite, and the blue orbits are showing three different alternate routes that satellite could take to avoid this collision point here. So this is all inside the Unreal game engine. Unreal has a visual scripting language called Blueprints, and you can also generate plugins in C++. So as a visual reference, we started looking at some different sources, found this website, showed all of the different objects in space around the Earth. You can show different groups, different orbits. So we thought this was a great visual target. So we found that this actually uses spacetrack.org, which is a definitive source for information on orbiting stuff, satellites, debris, whatnot. And it also uses a library based on this C++ code that we could then integrate into Unreal at runtime to generate the curves. And this is the spacetrack.org, and this is the source information we're getting in 2-line and 3-line element formats. From there, I generated static libraries from that source code and integrated those into the Visual Studio project that's generated with the Unreal project. So I then exposed some of the functionality from that library into blueprint functions. Later on, I'll show you how that works in the scripting language. On the asset side, I downloaded a 3D model of the satellite that we used. So yeah, needed to do a bunch of cleanup work on it. It's the 3D mesh and generating materials, and from there also generated a debris field based off of some of the mesh, some different objects. So that was from a simulation to just create some random stuff to represent a debris field in space. And to create the textures for the damaged solar panels, took the original texture for the solar panel and added some cracked glass texture over the top. I then imported those assets into Unreal. So here we can see the satellite mesh. Material setup. Here's the debris cloud. And we have other mesh, so this is the 3D mesh for the actual bubble around the objects. And these all have various materials, shaders, things that need to be created to create the VFX. Once all the assets are imported, I can then set up the blueprints, which are the visual scripting language. It's just an exposure of the C++ libraries. So I set up a separate class to visualize the actual orbits. So this one shows you the 3D mesh, all the VFX, generates the curves for the orbits. So here we can see we've got TLE struct incoming from C++. I can break that out into all the different elements coming in from that library, and I can then use those to generate other elements. So this is creating an actual curve for the orbit. This block here is creating 3D mesh for the curve, which calls other functions. And this is the runtime block that's actually causing the satellite or debris or whatever to actually circle the planet and follow that curve. Then once we have that defined, this is the main control script that spawns all different entities. So again, this one here is calling another C++ function exposed from the library that loads up the data from the text file. So this is the text file here. So here's all our definitions of the different orbiting bodies. So that's loaded up there, and it then spawns one of the visualized entities per 3 lines from that text file. And we also have separate ones for our hero satellite, our debris, and our 3 options, A, B, and C. And you can see in here, for these ones, we can just specifically set the TLE lines. So we can create specific satellites and then individually set all of their properties. And once that's all set up, we can then compose our scene. So here we can see we have our different lights, different objects. These are all the objects being spawned by our code. And this is all running in live at the moment, and then we can use our camera setup to move around our scene. And then we have our demo. Thanks.